Good afternoon, parents. My name is Rudy Puente. I'm Director of Student Services for Twin Rivers Unified School District. Really excited about the information that we'll be bringing you this evening regarding Twin Rivers Unified School District and our welcome back to the 21-22 school year. We've got a variety of different folks available this evening to present you information with regards to our return back to school. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into the agenda. So our agenda for this hour is definitely going to include a welcome and introductions regarding folks who will be presenting that information to you. In addition to that, we're going to be talking about student technology and some of the online programs associated with that tech. We're going to talk about updates and resources regarding the upcoming school year that Twin Rivers is going to offer its families with regards to support. We're also going to talk about information regarding what to expect for the school year. And also about positive behavior supports that we're going to be providing in the classroom this year. And we also know that mental health is going to be a very important part of our school year and how students and families can access those services. In addition to that, we'll talk about safety and prevention tips with regards to our programs, our campus and classroom preparations. And then we're going to finish off with closing thoughts and feedback, while all at the same time working to try and answer as many questions as possible during this session. So with that said, I'm going to hand it back over to Mr. Soto.
Thank you very much, Mr. Puente. We want to let our families know that in this case, these are the different steps that as far as requesting interpretation is really important to click on the interpretation channel as requested. In this case being Arabic, Farsi, Hmong, Russian, and so on. And in this way, you'll be able to then, in this case, be able to provide interpretation for the session for today. We would like to also share that many of the questions that are being asked today could be submitted via the question and answer and also be in the chat. This session is being recorded. That way we could then make sure to share this information with our families. And we want to just make sure that we'll be able to share a lot of this information to you today, and we're excited to be here today. So with that, I'm going to proceed on, and we're going to switch on to the next slide. And we're going to have a couple people introduce themselves. So with that, we'll let Dr. Grace welcome our families, and then we'll proceed on after that.
Welcome everyone. I hope the sound has gotten fixed for everyone. I know we're working on the sound if it is not working. I am Dr. Lori Grace. I am the Associate Superintendent for School Leadership. Very happy to have you all here tonight hearing critical information from us about the starting of school next Tuesday. And we are so excited to welcome all of our students back to in-person instruction. With that, I will turn it over to Brett Taylor to introduce himself.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Brett Taylor. I'm the Executive Director for Secondary and really excited to have students back on campus this year. We know we have a lot to prepare for. We hope that we can answer all your questions this evening. My job is really to help support all of the students in secondary. So if you have any questions, make sure you ask tonight and we will make sure we cover those. So thank you for being here this evening.
Just to ensure consistency, I'll make sure to introduce myself again. My name is Rudy Puente, Director of Student Services for Twin Rivers Unified School District. And then I'll hand it over to Christy Kagstrom.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Christy Kagstrom. I'm the Coordinator for Health Services for the district. And I'm happy for the opportunity to be here and to tell you all the things we've done to prepare for the start of the new school year.
And as mentioned previously, my name is Heriberto Soto. I work as a coordinator for family and community engagement. And we're here to provide many of the information that we'll be sharing off today. And we're excited for you to be here today as well. We want to let our families know that as we start the school year off, many of you are wondering as far as how to contact many of our departments regarding questions regarding preschool and Head Start enrollment for the incoming school year. When our after-school programs are going to be starting, and services regarding our EL department and our tech support. Many of this information could be found by contacting these different phone numbers, extensions, and that way you'll be able to find many of this information as well today, as we have. So with that, we want to make sure that we have those numbers available for you, and we'll share that as well. Many of our families have asked regarding, in this case, the technology piece, in this case, asking about Chromebooks and asking about whether when students are going to be receiving that information. We want to make sure that, many of our students who have already been signed up already were checked out a Chromebook at the last year. Students who are enrolled this incoming school year will have already received one based on the distribution that is based on your school site, or in this case also on the day of the school on August 17th. And many of our families who might have questions regarding how to fix a malfunctioning Chromebook, you could call or contact our IT desk helpline at the 916-566-7802. And that way they'll be able to help you as far as ensuring that your students have access to technology on the first day of school. We also want to let that many of our families and students who have already been here before, these are going to be 3 essential programs that we're going to be covering as far as, supporting many of our students with accessing a lot of the online learning programs with the TRUSD apps portal and Google Classroom, as far as these innovative technology programs that they have utilized last year. And for many of our families who, in this case, will be able to monitor their attendance and their grades and communicate with the school staff, Aries Parent Portal will be an essential application for you all. And we promise to share this information with you throughout the coming days on how to access a lot of these resources to start August 17th on the right foot. We also want to let our families know that in this case, August 17th, many of our students are going to be receiving backpacks. In this case, if they're preschool to kinder, they'll be receiving a smaller size backpack that is adequately to their size, headphones and school supplies. For our bigger students, we'll be receiving the same case, a bigger backpack with school supplies and headphones, and a carrying case that will have to make sure that the Chromebook are well and protected. And many of our students maybe have already received these as depending on the school site where they'll be distributed as well. And so with that, we will we'll provide information regarding updates and resources and how to get ready for the beginning of the school year. And with that, I'll let Dr. Grace just kind of cover as far as what to expect for the beginning of the school year.
So many of you are already asking these great questions in the chat. So our students will be on campus 5 days a week for full days of in-person instruction. Our after-school programs are going to resume according to the 2019-2020 schedules. And so your individual school site can tell you exactly what those are because they vary from school to school based on the release time. Masks are required in all indoor spaces for staff and students. Our field trips and other events are planning to occur virtually right now, unless our circumstances change and we see case rates drop dramatically. Middle school and high school students will be on campus 5 days a week as well. Athletic practices and extracurricular activities will resume, and COVID testing is no longer required or provided for all athletes as it was last year. And again, field trips and other events are planned to occur virtually unless circumstances change. And for secondary, that also goes for things like indoor assemblies and dances. Those will also occur. If they can occur outside, we won't be holding them indoors until, again, circumstances change. It's very fluid and we're following that public health guidance. And again, masks will be required in all indoor spaces. We're ensuring that the furniture in our classrooms provides as much space as possible between students. But again, we know from public health that the best mitigation measures are wearing of masks. And so that's why we are following those. And it is, again, full-time. 5 days a week for all of our students. So they will resume more or less according to the schedules prior to the pandemic when we initially shut down. So you can check your school website and you should have bell schedules up, but they are full days, 5 days a week.
Thank you very much, Dr. Grace. With that, I'm going to then go into the programs around independent study. And with that, I'll let Mr. Taylor discuss a little bit about the independent study program.
Thank you, Heriberto. So I saw one of the questions was how come distance learning is not an option for this year? So there was some state legislation that happened this summer that basically said any students who want to participate in a program that's not full-time on campus, the option is independent study, right? So we don't have distance learning where you're in your school and you're getting instruction online. We have independent study. And one of the things we have to help us is that Keema has been our independent study program for the past several years and been successful. And we moved Keema to a K-12 program last year. So K-6 is now available at Keema. And so that means that it's an independent study program. We're meeting all of the state mandates that came out this summer. But for K-6, there's daily Zoom teaching. For 7-8, there's daily Zoom connection. And for high school, there's once a week teacher interaction. So there's opportunities for on-campus support and for extra assistance and enrichment activities at the elementary level. And in terms of high school, there's a little more flexibility with the time that the students connect and pacing. And it's also a comprehensive curriculum that allows for graduation. So if you are interested in an option that is not full-time in person, Keema K-12 Independent Study School is now our option. So if you are interested, you need to contact Student Services. The number is here on the slide, 916-566-1620. And if you have questions that are detailed about the independent study program, we want to be able you to call so that we can answer those, because some of those are going to go deeper than we can go into tonight. But again, distance learning, as we knew it last year, has been discontinued. We do have an independent study option with Keema, and that K-6, there is a daily connection, a daily teaching with teachers. At 7-8, there's a daily connection, and at high school, there's a weekly connection. So there's an opportunity for students to work from home in independent study at Twin Rivers if that's the option you select. So for more information, contact Student Services.
Thank you very much, Mr. Taylor, for that information regarding the independent study program. With that, we'll let Mr. Rudy discuss a little bit about the daily routines as far as what the day will look like. I guess I forgot his last name. His last name is Mr. Puente, and then he'll discuss a little bit about recess, school meals, and the expanded learning programs for us.
Thank you, Mr. Soto. I appreciate that. So I'm going to go ahead and talk to parents a little bit about what they might see, what students will be experiencing as far as a daily routine on campus. So when we look at the recess, students will be able to use playground equipment and participate in sporting activities during recess. But again, they're going to be doing this following the latest public health and safety guidelines. And then when we look at our school meals, all Twin River students at every school will be able to receive a school breakfast and their lunch at no cost to their families, thanks to funding from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. But our campuses have also added additional outdoor spaces for students to utilize during the lunch period, so that we can additionally, help to make sure that we're adhering to those public health and safety guidelines. In addition to that, our expanded learning programs, which are known as our after-school programs, will now be offered at all elementary campuses, and we're going to be providing enrichment and homework support for all of our students in these programs. We also know that we need to try and work towards making up some lost learning. So we know that additional tutorial programs and credit recovery options are going to be very important for this year. So we're going to make sure that that's available for our students as well.
And so with that, we have asked, in this case, Ms. Caxton, to talk a little bit about staying safe in school. What are some of the ways or different steps that many of our families can ensure daily routines and practices to make sure that, we start off well this school year.
Thank you so much, Mr. Soto. As we've been talking about, we're working to make sure that we're following the public health guidelines, and one of which is face coverings required for all students, staff, and visitors while indoors. Masks are optional outdoors in all K-12 school settings. So your student should arrive with the mask, but if for some reason they weren't able to do that or got lost on the way, we have plenty of masks at school to provide masks at all times, both for students and for adults on campus. A really important thing that won't be new to those families who were in hybrid is public health is asking us to make sure that families know that the best thing to do is to screen your students daily at home before you send them to school. If you see on the website, on the health services page, you'll see a screening list. We want you to make sure that your student doesn't have any COVID-like symptoms. All those things that we've been hearing about, fever, cough, there's a list of things like that. And if they do, that they stay home. And then you call in their absence and tell us what's going on, and we'll help you determine when they could come back to school. Physical distancing is something that we'll be continuing to follow the public health guidelines and do those best practices as much as possible. So talking to your student about the importance of doing that and maintaining that throughout the day as much as they can will be important. We're partnering with the California Department of Public Health to offer rapid antigen tests to any student who had symptoms on site, or even an on-site or even an off-site exposure to COVID. Those tests will be available 5 days a week during school days for families, and you're going to find out more about that from your school health office, and we'll direct you to where you can access that testing. I think we can go to the next slide.
So with that, we'll let Dr. Grace talk a little bit about the focus on learning and how we're working to ensure that many of our students are ready for school, and many of the information and many of the initiatives and programs that we have today as well for the start of the school year.
Thank you, Heriberto. So we know for many of our students, the distance learning component was difficult, and so we're prepared for that. And so we have added additional student support teachers at our elementary school sites to pull students who may need additional intervention or support. And we have added additional opportunities for one-to-one tutoring after school and personalized learning. Early intervention and counseling support for our transitioning freshmen. Additionally, we have allocated a full-time counselor at all of our elementary and K-8 school sites to support our students. Additionally, we have had multi-tiered systems of support or intervention supports at all of our K-8 schools. We're now expanding that for our 9-12 students next year. Our more mental health services will also be available for all of our students, such as one-on-one counseling, school-wide wellness campaigns, training for positive school culture and crisis management. Additionally, we have added additional behaviorist supports for students who may struggle to transition back to the school environment or sit for long periods of time. We know many of our students have had lots of breaks and a very shortened school day over the last year and a half. And so we're providing additional supports to help our students transition back into the classroom. So we're also providing a great deal of supports for our freshmen transitioning to high school. We know many of our middle school students really only had about a half a year of a 7th grade experience. And so we want to really lean in as they move into high school. And so we will be providing additional coaching for their teachers in their math classes, providing them with additional learning supports, multi-tiered systems of support, and English language development supports, as well as monitoring them around D's and F's and really looking at early warning signs for any students who may be struggling.
Mr. Taylor, is there anything else we want to cover regarding the freshman focus or the just information that maybe
Dr. Grace did perfectly with it. I have nothing to add.
That is great. Thank you very much. One of the things that we want to share that as our students are returning back to school, full in person, is the idea of being champs in a classroom, as far as promoting positive behavior when it comes to, in this case, clear behavioral expectations, whether whether it's going to be in the office or in the classroom, outside in the recess area. So our PBIS MTSS specialists, I know that I'm using acronyms and I do apologize, are in this case working to ensure that our schools create a welcoming environment. They will be working to reinforce the recognition that many of our students are accomplishing when it comes to raising their hand, whether they're promoting positive behavior in a classroom, whether they're welcoming new students. There'll be a lot of these welcoming environments or strategies they're creating to then share with school staff to make sure that many of our students have many of those practices as once we start on the first day of school. And in this case, this is part of the efforts that many of our schools are working to make sure that we have available, to support our students during this transition into full in-person instruction. And as you could see there, these are some of the ways that they're reinforcing that as they view and they walk in the classroom. There'll be posters. There'll be, they're getting reinforced with those strategies as well. We also want to let many of our families who have registered via the registration and who had completed the feedback survey have encountered about the need for mental health. In this case, we have developed the mental health website. If you go to www.twinriversusd.org/mental health, you'll be able to find information regarding prevention and who to contact in case of need, regarding resources within the community, accessing information or services that are within the district. And one of those programs that we want to highlight is called Carouselis. It is an online web tool. You could log in, you could call in as well, and you just create a referral either for yourself or for your family. You'll be able to click on the selection of different needs, and in that way, somebody will from Carouselis will make sure that be able to be that connector between you and those services that are provided within the community. And we just want to make sure that we support many of our families and students regarding this this incoming school year with the need for mental health, and just reducing some of those anxiety and stresses that many of our families have commented within the interactions that we've had.
Transportation. So for our students who qualify for Twin Rivers Unified School District transportation, we'll continue to offer this daily transportation for all of our students and to all of our campuses. Additional health and safety measures have been implemented for our bus fleet, including daily sanitation of surfaces and requiring the wearing of masks for riders. I would like to encourage you to visit our website or call your school's administrative office if you have questions about whether or not you do qualify for transportation, or you would like to find out more information about the route. I want the audience to know that those routes are now posted for the 21-22 school year at Find My Bus Stop. You'll see that within this slide, we have a link that you could use, as well as a barcode that you could scan in order to look up that particular code. Moving on to the next slide, we're going to talk a little bit about campus and classroom preparation. So when we talk about school drop-off and pickup, in order to maintain health and safety guidelines, we're allowing parents to walk their students to class on the first day of school. Parents will be required to wear a mask. Parents will not be allowed in the classroom or allowed to linger around campus after drop-off. After the first day of school, visitors will be required to show verification of vaccination or negative COVID tests within 72 hours of the visit. School site plans will vary. So we really want to encourage you to contact the front office of your school site for more information. When we talk about safety protocols, we've implemented new protocols and procedures at all of our campuses to ensure our students and staff have the proper personal protective equipment and all surfaces are thoroughly disinfected and cleaned. We've upgraded our air filters with high-grade MERV 13 HVAC filters. They are used in buildings throughout the district, and the filters are routinely inspected and changed. Now, when we talk about hygiene, hand sanitizers will be available throughout our schools and facilities. Our school's maintenance staff will ensure that restrooms and hand washing sinks are continuously stocked with soap and paper towels.
I was responding to a question and then I got a little bit distracted. With that, we'll have Ms. Hagstrom discuss about the daily routines regarding how best to make sure that our students are ready for the start of the school year.
Thank you so much. So we're going to circle back and talk again about this important health screening at home. And on the right there, you can see a tool that we've developed. It's on our website. If you go to our website, a really easy way to use this tool is to take a picture of it. And then you have it there easily on your phone at any time. If you aren't quite sure and remembering what was the symptoms, what was that list again, an easy way to keep that is just to take a picture of it. So we would like you to monitor your child's health daily prior to sending them to school. If your child has a temperature or any one of these symptoms on the list, you keep your child home. And then call the school and report the absence. If your child becomes ill at school and displays any one of these symptoms, then we really need you to pick them up right away. Students will be isolated in the symptom area until they're picked up, and they'll be monitored the whole time during that time. We really ask that you be ready to come pick up your child pretty quickly if that does occur, because they really do need to go home at that time so you can care for them and keep an eye on them. We reviewed proper mask placement, and we just want you to keep stressing to your children the importance of using their mask properly at the start of the school year. In talking about if a student has any of those symptoms, either at home or they develop them at school, the decision then needs to be made, when can they return? And so your school health offices are available to help you with that decision, and we'll be reaching out to you, and the school office and the school health office will be helping families to know when their child can return. I want you to know that the district has prioritized adding extra health staff, nurses, health assistants, LVNs to our schools in order to support this. Students who are at home with symptoms will follow the symptom tree for a return date. This symptom tree comes from the Sacramento County Health Department. I can tell you I was just on a call with them today. They're updating this symptom tree right now, so you might see a new one on the website very soon. That all of our health offices have copies of these, and they can send those to you at any time. Students who've been exposed at home receive also assistance from the contact tracing team to determine the length of time that they might need to quarantine for a return date. All of these resources are on the health services page of the Twin Rivers website, and there's a link right there. So that talked about more either symptoms at home or exposures at home. I want to talk also about, of course, exposures at school. If a positive case is confirmed on campus, we have a whole contact tracing team developed at Twin Rivers. And that would be the team that's going to be notifying families and using those public health protocols to guide what we do. Confidentiality is very important, and we maintain that in accordance with state and federal privacy laws. If in the event that there were any confirmed cases that your student might have been in close proximity to in the classroom, the contact tracing team will contact you and give you some directions for any need for testing that could be recommended, or quarantine or isolation if needed. That testing that I talked about earlier is something that at that point you could take advantage of. We have, like I said, testing every 5 days a week within the district that we can assist with. Return dates, and guidance, that is governed by whatever the current public health guidelines are. And that team is working closely with Sacramento Public Health for ongoing support.
Thank you, Ms. Hagstrom.
You're welcome.
We know that we have covered a lot of information, and a lot of this information is probably going to take time to digest and understand as far as many of the questions you might have. What we recommend is to stay connected. The district has posted a fall, return to in-person guide within the district website. You could become friends with us via social media, either on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and this way you can stay connected to find out what updates and information are going on within the district. For many of our families who already have an Aries parent portal, now is a process where you could complete the data confirmation. For many of our families who don't have access to an Aries parent portal account, we recommend you contacting your school site so they could create an account for you. In this case, they'll verify your account information, your email address, you're the parent guardian, and then they'll make sure to create an account for you. And that way you can find out more about your teacher's information, updating your own contact information, and staying connected as well. We want to, do the best that we can as far as informing our families. At the conclusion of this webinar, a survey will pop up, and we'll send out information for you to ask us as far as the work that we have done, as far as how to communicate and engage many of our families and community members today. As we start the school year off on August 17th, we want to make sure that we support our community members today and throughout the school year as well with many of the topics that we can offer. So with that, I'm going to just say, we are excited to come back for the return of full in person. I know that it's been a long time, and we want to in this case, let Dr. Grace just close off as far as, what families can expect, and just thank you for logging in today and for your participation and being here today as well.
So thank you, Heriberto. I appreciate all of the questions that are coming in. And I really appreciate our staff who is here today who is typing feverishly to get all the answers out to parents. Don't worry, you will get another communication from Dr. Martinez, our superintendent, on Friday. We are also looking to issue our parents back to school guide with all of this information to go out to all of our parents so that you can see this in black and white and in a trifold fashion so that you can refer to that as well. We know lots of parents have lots of questions about the school year, and we really appreciate your patience. Also, for those of you who are requesting independent study, we have as you can imagine, received quite a few requests for independent study, well over what we typically receive. And so our staff, we've allocated additional staff to our independent study program at Keema, and they are working very, very hard to contact you all and get you enrolled, for those of you who have done that. For the rest of you, who are planning to return in person, we are excited to see all of your students. We can't wait for them to come back. And we know that it's very important for many of them to be able to come back and see their friends and see their teachers. And so we just can't wait to see you all. And just appreciate your understanding and patience as we navigate another school year that is less than typical. And please know that, as conditions changed and we're provided with different guidance from County Department of Health, as things change, we're going to follow that guidance. And we're going to do our best to keep all of our students and our staff safe and our schools open. That's really our primary focus and goal, is maintaining student safety and staff safety and keeping our schools and classrooms open.